beneath the bedrock. The lone adventurer, Aric, had wandered far from familiar lands, his inventory a testament to countless journeys. A meticulously crafted diamond pickaxe, an enchanted bow, stacks of golden apples for dire straits, and maps charting every biome known to him. Yet this quadrant of the overworld remained largely untouched, a vast expanse of dense taiga giving way to plains that stretched to a shimmering, distant ocean. It was here, at the cusp of land and sea, that he stumbled upon it. A village. But this was no ordinary village. Its wooden structures were half swallowed by the earth, their roofs barely peeking above a strange muddy rise. Cobblestone paths snaked aimlessly into deep, stagnant puddles. Not a single villager sound, no distant cluck of chickens, no lowing of cows, just an oppressive silence, broken only by the whisper of wind through skeletal trees. Aric's hand instinctively went to the hilt of his sword. Abandoned villages were not uncommon, but this one felt different. It pulsed with a forgotten sorrow, a sudden panicked evacuation frozen in time. He explored the sunken homes, noting chests left agape, empty beds, and crafting tables still laden with unrefined oak logs. Nothing of value, only the ghostly imprint of lives abruptly halted. At the village's heart stood a well, its stone ring partially submerged, the water within unnaturally dark and still. Aric peered over the edge, his torch casting a wavering light into the depths. What he saw made his breath catch, a shaft, impossibly deep, extending far beyond the typical well bottom. It seemed to plunge endlessly into the earth, ringed by a strange, obsidian-like stone that absorbed the light. Curiosity, Aric's oldest companion and greatest vice, tugged at him. He crafted a series of ladders, placing them against the damp, foreboding walls of the shaft. Down he went, his boots scraping against rough stone, the air growing colder, heavier, until the surface world was nothing more than a faint square of starlight far above. The shaft opened into a vast natural cavern, one unlike any Aric had ever encountered. The rock formations here defied logic, twisting into impossible spires and gaping maw-like entrances. Strange, luminescent fungi clung to the walls, casting an eerie, phosphorescent glow that made shadows dance like specters. He continued his descent, pickaxe in hand, tunneling through layers of stone he hadn't seen before. A dense metallic ore that hummed faintly under his touch, and veins of a black, crystalline substance that shattered with a sound like breaking glass. The passage spiraled ever downward, deeper than any natural cave should go, past layers of granite and diorite, past bedrock. He blinked, rubbing his eyes. Bedrock. He had hit the bottom of the world, solid and unyielding. But then he saw it. A shimmering crack, almost imperceptible, ran through the bedrock layer itself. It was thin as a spider silk, glowing with an internal faint blue light. Aric knelt, pressing his hand against the impossibly strong block. The light pulsed, and a faint vibration resonated through his very bones. This was wrong. Bedrock was the unbreakable barrier, the world's final wall. Yet, before him, it whispered of something beyond. He pulled out his most prized possession, the diamond pickaxe, and hesitantly tapped it against the shimmering fissure. The pickaxe rang, a clear, high note, and the crack widened, a sliver of the blue light pouring out. With another careful tap, a small section of the bedrock crumbled away, not breaking, but dissolving into fine, iridescent dust, revealing a dark, impossibly deep void beyond. Aric hesitated only a moment. This was the call of the unknown, the whisper of a secret so profound it lay beneath the very foundation of existence. He gathered his courage, took a deep breath, and stepped through the shimmering void. He fell, not sharply, but gently, as if descending through thick, ancient water. The fall seemed to last an eternity, the faint blue light from the fissure above slowly fading until he was enveloped in absolute darkness. Then, with a soft thud, his feet found solid ground. He ignited a torch, and the flames sputtered, then blazed, revealing a cavern of impossible scale. This was not natural. Towering columns of polished obsidian reached into a ceiling lost in shadow, intricately carved with symbols he did not recognize. Gleaming gold blocks, chiseled with the same arcane designs, formed ornate archways and massive reinforced walls. He stood within an ancient stronghold, but one unlike any generated above ground. This was a king's tomb, a titan's vault, built in an age beyond memory, beneath the very world itself. Aric advanced cautiously, his boots echoing on the polished stone. The air was still and cold, tasting of minerals and immense age. Pressure plates, clearly visible, lined the corridors. He bypassed them with practiced ease, parkouring over some, using strategically placed sand blocks to disarm others. He encountered no hostile mobs, only an oppressive silence that suggested a far greater presence. Grand chambers opened before him, revealing silent libraries filled with undecipherable scrolls etched into stone, and vast armories displaying ornate, unbreakable armor stands, their contents long gone. He found no ordinary treasure, no emeralds or diamonds in chests. Instead, he discovered artifacts of profound mystery, a compass that spun wildly, pointing to nothing. A single ancient key made of a strange, shimmering metal that fit no lock he could find, and a withered, leather-bound journal, its pages blank save for a single, repeating symbol. The silence began to gnaw at him. He felt an undeniable sense of being watched, a heavy, unblinking gaze following his every move. The temperature in the stronghold seemed to drop with every step deeper he took. He passed through an arched entryway, grander than any before it, into a colossal chamber. The ceiling here soared, lost in the blackness, and the walls were adorned with murals depicting what looked like celestial events and colossal, unknown beings. At the very center of the chamber, upon a raised dais of solid lapis lazuli, stood a figure. It was immense, easily twice the height of an iron golem, crafted from dark, obsidian-like material, intricately carved with runes that glowed with a faint internal pulse. Its form was broadly humanoid, but its limbs were thick and powerful. Its head a simple, featureless block, save for two pinpricks of blue light that served as eyes. This was the ancient guardian, slumbering, silent, radiating an aura of incredible, immeasurable power. In its right hand, it clutched a large, glowing crystal, humming with a low, resonant frequency. Aric felt a deep unease, a primal warning screaming at him to retreat. But the crystal, it pulsed with an energy that called to him, a secret promise of unimaginable power. He took a hesitant step forward, then another, his hand reaching for the shimmering artifact. As his fingertips brushed against the crystal's surface, a low, guttural rumble resonated through the chamber, vibrating the very stone. The guardian's head slowly, ponderously, turned. The pinpricks of blue light in its face flared, expanding into two burning orbs. Its arm, clutching the crystal, slowly began to rise. Aric scrambled back, his heart pounding. The guardian was not attacking in anger, but with an ancient, methodical purpose. It lumbered forward, its steps shaking the ground, not chasing him with aggression, but moving to block the very passage he had used to enter. Its purpose was not to destroy intruders, but to contain them. Aric realized the horrific truth. This stronghold wasn't a treasure vault, but a prison, and the Guardian was its unbreakable lock. Panic spurred him to action. He sprinted back the way he came, the Guardian's heavy, deliberate footsteps echoing behind him. It began to activate dormant mechanisms in the stronghold. Heavy obsidian doors slammed shut, diverting his path. Walls of reinforced stone rose from the floor, attempting to funnel him into dead ends. Aric, a master of improvisation, used his pickaxe to shatter critical blocks in the Guardian's path, or to create new routes through the thin walls. He dodged a pulverizing blow from its immense fist, the air displaced by its swing nearly knocking him off his feet. He threw an ender pearl, teleporting across a collapsing bridge just as the Guardian's foot descended, shattering it into dust. He clawed his way through collapsing corridors, the air thick with dust and the metallic scent of ancient machinery. The blue glow of the Bedrock fissure appeared ahead, a beacon of hope in the suffocating darkness. He launched himself through, scrambling upwards through the tight tunnel, the vibrations of the Guardian's movements still rumbling through the stone beneath him. He didn't stop climbing until his hands scraped against the damp, familiar stone of the village well. With a final surge of adrenaline, Aric pulled himself out, gasping for breath, collapsing onto the muddy ground beside the well. The silence of the abandoned village felt like a comforting embrace after the oppressive stillness beneath. He looked back down into the well, his eyes wide. The impossible shaft was still there, a yawning abyss into the earth. But the shimmering fissure, the crack in the bedrock itself, was gone. The dark, obsidian-like stone from the lower shaft had seamlessly reformed, sealing the passage as if it had never existed. Aric shuddered, pulling himself to his feet. The weight of the secret, of what lay beneath the bedrock, pressed down on him. The villagers, he now understood, had not abandoned their homes in panic from surface threats, but had fled in terror from a revelation, an accidental uncovering of something so ancient and dangerous that the world itself worked to keep it hidden. They had perhaps glimpsed the impossible fissure, understood the risk, and decided to vanish, leaving the secret buried once more. He looked out over the sun-drenched plains, the familiar Minecraft world stretching infinitely before him. He had sought adventure, and he had found it. But this was an adventure that demanded silence. Some secrets, he realized, were not meant to be shared, not meant to be plundered. The stronghold beneath the bedrock was not a treasure vault, but a cage, and the ancient guardian, a silent, eternal warden. Aric turned his back on the eerie village and the well that now seemed utterly unremarkable. He walked away, not charting the location on his map, not even allowing himself a backward glance. The Overworld held countless wonders, but its most profound mysteries lay not across vast oceans or atop towering mountains, but impossibly deep, guarded by forces older than time itself, beneath the very foundations of the world. And some of those mysteries were best left undisturbed.